Let's just stand on a strange planet dominated by blue aliens called Draags. We see that humans play the role of small creatures that are raised as pets, leading an unwelcoming lifestyle. So in case you didn't see it or left it halfway, I will tell you about the savage planet. The movie begins with a human woman fleeing with a baby in her arms. We see that she is scared when she looks back, and understandably so, as a giant blue hand is treating her like a toy. She continues trying to escape, nearly cornered and injured by projectiles. And in the end, we see the hand drop her from a great height, dying next to her baby. The ones playing with her were 3 Martian children who ran when they saw someone approaching. A family appears and the daughter sees the crying human baby and decides to adopt it. A voiceover tells us how his life began, living in the house of a family that practices astral meditations, who with a strange machine put a collar on him to control him. We see that the human baby is not comfortable with the collar, but it is used to drag him from place to place with a wrist controller, and we see that the Martian girl decides to name him Ter. Over time, the pet human learned that those extraterrestrials called Draags spend most of their time meditating in a way that seemed to send their souls or minds towards the sky. However, we not descended we also see that they must work and have their executive meetings and all that. While on television, some Martians say they brought the human race from another planet thinking they were intelligent life, but discovered that they only had certain skills in adaptation and organization. There is a debate about whether those skills can evolve into something better or not, stating that humans have a shorter lifespan but a higher reproduction rate than they do. However, the latter causes wild human colonies to spread too quickly, unlike the luxury humans used as pets, whose reproduction is well controlled. We see that the Ter baby serves as entertainment for the Draag girl, who plays with him, bathes him, dresses him, and occasionally the child rebels and bites her. This child also witnesses how the Draag family sleeps with machines that destroy and rearrange their bodies. We see that the Draag girl tries to copy human eyelashes on her face, and that the baby Ter plays a prank on her with black powder, which she blows back at him. Another toy of the Draag girl is a cloud that can chase the human boy to wet him or even electrocute him. But despite everything, Ter's voiceover admits that the girl loved him and even taught him to speak. We see that the Draag girl receives her education through a headband that transmits all the knowledge to her, and that a malfunction in the boy Ter's collar caused those lessons to also reach his head. Outside, diamonds grow like plants, and one day the Draag girl takes Ter for a walk. In ridiculous clothing, we see Ter getting trapped among diamonds growing around his body, but the girl can break these diamonds with a whistle. Ter can do it too, and enjoys breaking all the diamonds. And another day, we see some Draag children using their humans to make them fight, joining them by the hair. The girl also wants Ter to fight and puts him against an old man who starts singing until Ter silences him by choking him, so they have to pull him off. Over time, we see that Ter even learned to take his lessons himself using the headband, although the Draag parents do not care because they think he cannot understand those classes. However, they then forbid the girl from taking her lessons with the human nearby, as they believe he can distract her. We see that the Draag girl becomes a teenager who starts spending time meditating and plays less and less with Ter, and since he can't take lessons with her anymore, he decides to run away from the house, taking the headband with him. When she notices the absence of both possessions, the Draag girl goes to her mom, who tells her to use the bracelet's remote to bring him back, and even though the girl doesn't want to because not knowing where he is might harm him, she ends up doing it anyway. We see Ter being dragged back home by his collar, but he ends up stuck between 2 plants, where another human appears with a weapon to take off the collar. That human also wears a collar but says it's fake and only uses it to deceive the Draags, and Ter tells her about the diadem and the learning it can provide. The woman takes Ter through places where there are strange creatures until they reach a den of wild humans who laughed at him for his fancy human clothing. This lair is a structure known as the Great Tree, and Ter is brought before the leader, whom he shows he understands Draag technology and therefore can help them avoid traps. They start avoiding traps. We see that at night the leader feeds everyone some stones that make people shiny, and this is a ritual before they pair off to find a hiding place and mate. most of the wild humans gather to take their lessons as las humanas standards y unteitadas son del deses, but some believe that this knowledge is not good for humans, so they decide to carry out a fight to decide whether to continue with the lessons or not, in which the positive response wins. A species of silkworms creates new clothing for Ter and then takes him on an expedition where they steal things from the Draags, but then another band of wild humans steals these supplies from them. Upon returning to the Great Tree, they continue learning about the Draags culture and history, while Ter gets himself a girlfriend. However, suddenly we see a creature attacking the Great Tree, which eats several of them with its sticky tongue. Nevertheless, those who manage to escape hunt the creature, making it fall and using its blood as drink. Shortly after, and since they can already read the Draak language, they realize that signs have been put up around the area announcing that they will carry out a desombrerización, meaning they are going to kill all the savage humans in that region. The leader of the wild humans decides to set up watch posts to avoid being taken by surprise, and one night, Ter leaves the Great Tree and is attacked by another wild group who kidnap him to ask what he was doing in their territories. Ter explains that they are going to clear the surrounding areas the next day and therefore they must flee. But the leader of this group of savages does not believe him, as she thinks they just want to steal their territories. However, the next morning we see that the Draags begin fumigating humans using tablets that generate smoke deadly to them while using other humans with masks to find them. Ter and a few others manage to escape him, but many other humans are hit by the tablets and the gas they generate, and upon returning to the Great Tree, Ter finds several of his friends dead, although he sees that his girlfriend survived and together they flee, taking the diadem with them. Bisa sa kunteted outside the perimeter of hat removal was kuntawasiwe, so pakuntuta molohan both groups of wild humans have united to survive, and when some Draags appear saying that outside there is a horrible human smell and start stomping on people, isichapose presesetiuteas, they counterattack with their weapons, killing one of the Draags in exchange for dozens of human lives. The leader of the Great Tree died in battle, so the leader of the other group of savages takes control of all the survivors to lead them to a safe place. While they head there, the Draak leaders discuss the death caused by the humans, accepting that they have become bolder and are getting out of control. They also realize that they can now read the Draak language as they arrange the supply boxes according to their contents without opening them first. Then, they start proposing measures to bring humans under control, such as multiplying the measures of desombralization by 6, regulating the luxury human market, and beginning to use a new type of deadly weapon against them. Meanwhile, as a failure elsewhere, we see a creature being born and another licking it as if it were its mother, but then it eats it, and the group of survivors settled in an abandoned rocket factory where they created a colony, although they were beginning to plan the domination of the entire planet. Many colonies of wild humans joined them, and we see that with all the knowledge they had obtained from the diadem, they managed to minimize the Draak tools to use them to their advantage. Thanks to this, they managed to build 2 rockets, while discovering that the Draags planned to carry out a very large desombrerización. Then, one day, machines appear at the abandoned factory that launch circles of light which adhere to any surface and serve for recognition. Meanwhile, the leader of the humans dies, saying they must leave in the rockets to another world they called the Wild Planet, and shortly after, we see the new machines appear to kill humans, ending dozens of them by second. The 2 human rockets take off while hundreds of humans are left to die in horrible ways in the factory, and when the rockets reach the Wild Planet, we see that there the humans find giant sculptures without heads. They realize that when the Draags meditate, their essences not only go up to the sky but reach these headless bodies to meet with creatures from other planets with whom they perform their own ritual of reproduction and nutrient exchange, which is vital for their races survive. Upon learning this, the humans began to destroy these giant sculptures, causing the Draags' minds to panic and their bodies, which were meditating as well. Then, the Draags decide to make peace with the humans, and we see that many years later, a Draak child takes a lesson in which it is explained that after making peace, the Draags created a second artificial planet, which humans called Earth, and filled it with cities. If you liked the video, please leave me a like and subscribe to keep receiving summaries of the best bizarre and science fiction movies. Take care. Goodbye.